And we are about to go live. And I think we're actually live right now, but you know what we got to do? We got to do the countdown. Welcome to the Wavell Starr Show. I'm your host, the First Nation sensation, Wavell Starr, coming to Facebook Live with another edition after a long absence of the Wavell Starr Show, Rassler'S Roundtable. And tonight, I've got a couple of special guests and a couple great surprises. First of all, I've got a co-host here.
How's it going?
Hey, Augie Schmitt. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm living life and just really enjoying this. Really excited, especially for this upcoming weekend. Dude, can you tell I'm kind of shaking with excitement?
I sure am, man. You know, I've been looking to have a journalist, someone from the media, join me in this podcast for quite a while. So it was really good to meet you, and I'm glad to have you aboard.
Hey, the pleasure's all mine, man.
Awesome, man. And also with us tonight, all the way from Winnipeg, Manitoba, the one, the only, the Mecca, Shane Madison. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on this beautiful Friday night.
Hey, man, it's Rassle-Mania weekend. So I figured, hey, going to have to go live and then probably going to have to talk, do a little bit of a recap after the show as well, man, because it's a pretty big deal. And listen to this, Madison. When we were planning out the Rassle-Mania gimmick, like the preview, this podcast that we're doing right now, I was thinking that we'll do it on Saturday night. And then he reminded me that it's 2 nights. And I was, oh, yeah, they made the switch. It's not just one night anymore. It's like 2 nights for the past handful of years. Before we get started, what is your opinion? 1 day versus 2 days, Rassle-Mania?
I like the 2 days just because, like the 1 day was getting to be like 8 hours long. So I kind of I kind of like the 2 days. I mean, obviously it's copied after New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom, so they've kind of emulated that for the last several years. But I thought 2 days works well.
Yeah. The only thing that is just a lot of wrestling to digest at once. I agree. And for myself, honestly, I probably won't watch it. Like I rarely watch the whole thing from beginning to end. Right when it
come
happens.
on!
It'll be on. It'll be on while I'm doing stuff, right?
Listen, here's what I've done this week. I've watched Raw. I've watched NXT. I've watched TNA. I've watched Dynamite. I've watched the Harley Race Dark Side of the Ring. I have Hall of Fame being PVR'd right now with SmackDown. I will watch that. My wife, we're doing something for my wife's 40th birthday tomorrow, so I can't watch Rassle-Mania live. So when that's over, whatever condition I'll be in, I'm going to start watching night 1.
Right.
But don't forget, at 11 a.m. tomorrow, there's Stand and Deliver, so I need to watch that. So it's crazy weekend. Crazy weekend.
Do you gonna be watching Ring of Honor tonight?
No, I have the IPTV gimmick, but they're not on pay-per-view tonight, so I can't watch it. But I do need to draw the line somewhere. So Ring of Honor is where I draw that
line. What's the big angle there? What's going on there to draw them in?
They're doing Eddie Kingston against somebody. No, Eddie Kingston. I can't remember who it is. It's for the Ring of Honor title. It hasn't really been built well, but hey, that's AEW for you. So
Mark Briscoe.
There you go. I'm sure it'll be an outstanding show, but I mean, there's a lot of wrestling.
Yeah, a lot of it. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
it kind of
reminds
me of when spring football was coming around, with the XFL and all that. And I remember the difference between me and a friend of mine who I used to co-host with our university's student-ran radio station. We had a show where we always talk about football, and he told me that, he's strictly NFL, because after the Super Bowl, he just gets really tired of it. He gets
burnt out
from all of it. And yeah, burnt out. And so I can imagine that. Yeah, I mean, it was probably the same for a lot of people. They probably feel burnt out from having so much wrestling. And then there's also the people kind of like you, Shane, with where it's just, just eating it all up, man. Just give me more, feed me more, to quote back.
Yeah, man. So speaking of that, let's get right into it. Why don't you run us through this card, Augie, and let's talk about what's going to happen and what are going to be the great matches and maybe the ones that are going to be not as good.
I am very excited about this. So with WrestleMania 40 coming up, which I'm also more excited for next year because there's a chance it'll be here in Minneapolis, meaning I could actually have a chance to go see it for the first time ever.
Oh, you've never been to WrestleMania?
Never ever, man.
Oh man, it's a crazy experience. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude, that's what I've heard. And so here we have it, Saturday night 1 for WrestleMania 40. Obviously, we have The Rock and Roman Reigns teaming up against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, that's the money. They're having that on night 1.
Yeah. Wow, but that's part 1 of Cody trying to finish the story. So that's just part 1 of it. And then obviously we have the Women's World Championship between Rhea Ripley, who is on fire so far, and the man herself, Becky Lynch. And oh man, for one, I'm kind of excited to have Becky Lynch back. I mean, she's always been one of my favorites when it comes to it, but Rhea Ripley, you can't deny her as well.
Ripley over, I think. Mecca.
Yeah, okay. I think Becky's going to get booed out of the building in that one, unfortunately for her. Yeah. But yeah, Rhea's something special for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And they definitely have the rocket on her right now too, right? So
yeah. And then for the Intercontinental Championship, we have Gunther, who I believe still has the record for the longest reign with that title, and he's going to be taking on Sami Zayn. And
he's going to keep it. He's going to keep it. He's going to keep the streak going. What do you think, Mecca?
Yeah, I think so too. It's 640 some days and counting. He's had it since June of 2022 when he beat Ricochet, but they've done a great story with Sami Zayn, like with this training with Chad Gable. And I mean, I don't know. I could see maybe Chad Gable joining Gunther and Imperium. Maybe, we could see something like that. But I think that could be a sleeper match for sure.
To give him a huge push, hey, Gunther.
Yeah, he's almost getting bigger than the Intercontinental Championship. So I think, that's kind of the belt that they kind of keep guys up with when they get to that next level. So I think he's getting close, just not there yet.
Right.
Not there. It's probably going to take another big babyface push or who knows to take that title away from him. But I'm loving it, man. Gunther, he's definitely another one of my favorites.
TV, man, for sure.
Yeah. And then we have Uso versus Uso, Jay versus Jimmy. Yeah.
I haven't been keeping up with that one.
Oh,
Mecca,
really?
What do you think? No, I haven't been keeping up with that one. Mecca, what about you?
I don't know where they're going to go with that, to be honest with you. I could see them doing something where this whole bloodline thing, this whole Jimmy and Jay thing was a work, and they've been kind of in cahoots the whole time. But I don't know, the brother thing, the only time it really worked for me was WrestleMania 10 with Brett and Owen. But it was flat with the Hardy Boys, and I don't know, I don't know what to expect from this one, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely expecting some kind of shenanigans. Maybe Solo Sikoa gets involved with one or the other, but I don't know. It's a iffy one for sure. But we got the 6-pack ladder match, though, up next for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Of course, the champions, Judgment Day, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. And then we have Awesome Truth. I'm so glad that The Miz and R-Truth got back together for that.
Oh, yes. Entertainment.
Yes. And then DIY, Johnny Gargano, my apologies, and if I can actually talk, Tommaso Ciampa. I can't talk right now.
It's your American accent.
No, it's just WrestleMania weekend, man. It's WrestleMania weekend. He's excited.
I'm very excited, man. I'm too fired up. I gotta cool down.
I'm fired up.
And then we got the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, and then we got New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. A-Town Down under Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Oh my gosh, this is packed.
How is this gonna work, man? Like this is who's leading this train wreck? No, like they're all very talented, and I'm sure it's gonna be awesome. But how, like, so many moving parts in that? How do you even start to put that together so it makes sense and tells a story, man?
I don't even know, man. I feel like there's going to be a heavy focus on the Miz and R-Truth because, they have an actual storyline with the Judgment Day because R-Truth, he does his thing being the funniest person on the roster, joking about how he was in the Judgment Day, and then when they actually decided to attack him finally, because I guess they had enough of him joking around, all of a sudden he's turning his back on his former tag teams, even though
Mecca,
he
what
was
do you
never
think?
part of them.
You know what? I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to go with DIY in this one. I think they're going to have a big night. I know it's Johnny Gargano's Rassle-Mania debut. He's going to be pumped up and excited, and Tommaso, he's getting a little long in the tooth, so I think he's got something to prove. I can't believe the New Day has a job, to be honest with you. I mean, those guys, I can't believe they're still around. That's crazy to me. Miz and R-Truth, like you said, good entertainment. Who else is in that match again? The two other teams?
We have Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, or New Catch Republic, and then A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory, and Smaller.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Austin Theory. They kind of were giving him a real good push, and then they kind of put the brakes on him. I'm not sure what happened, but I think he's got a lot of upside. He's a tremendous talent. He gets it. He's a good dude, too. Grayson Waller, I got a ton of respect for him based on, if you've read any of his interviews, he's got a lot of respect for the business, so I really appreciate that. And New Catch Republic, Bate and Pete Dunne, I like their work, but I think they need. They're still gelling. I think they're pretty new, and they need a little bit more pizzazz.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Some office politics there with Austin Theory is what everybody's saying, right? Because he was apparently a Vince guy, and then Hunter took over. So generally, when the new guard takes over, then they bury the old guard. And
yeah, I hope he sticks with it though, because he's going to be a superstar. He's been around not that long, but when he was doing his stuff in Evolve, like, he was really impressive from a very young age. He's been around for a bit, and he's still young. So
yeah, how old is he? He's not even 30, is he?
Oh, he's like 25 or something like that. Wow. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
That's
insane. He's got a lot of years.
He's only 2 years older than me. Man,
and he doesn't work too crazy a style either, right? He's got a style that'll definitely lend some longevity. Like you take a look at someone like Randy Orton, right? You can't argue that that it's been the style that he learned how to work has supported the longevity, and of course his attention to keeping himself in shape and working out. And
he's unbelievable.
Absolutely, what a machine that guy is. Great to see him kicking ass again.
Yeah.
Same with AJ Styles.
Oh yeah,
we see AJ Styles.
Oh, there you are.
Every time I think about AJ Styles, I just think about how blessed we are. This guy's going to be 46 or 47 years old in June, still doing it at a high level. Look at the shape this guy's in. He's probably put on about 10 or 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, man.
And just great. Like we are all very blessed to be able to still watch him work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, I agree with you 100% of that.
I remember when he had that big return and he came back all jacked after being injured, and people were saying, "Oh man, he's got to bring back the Evil Days theme from back in TNA. He's got to bring that back now." And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agreed, because for one, I love that theme. That's one of my favorites. But nothing can ever beat his first theme when he first came to WWE, man. Especially when he came to the Royal Rumble for the first time.
It was pretty big. Yeah, for sure, man. And he deserves it.
Do you know whose music that was supposed to be for?
What?
That was supposed to be for James Storm.
Really?
That music was written for James Storm. Yep.
And what happened? They just played it by accident and he kept it, or?
No. He did a match in NXT, and then he wanted. They offered him X amount of dollars. I won't get into money, but they offered him X amount of dollars, and TNA offered him X plus 2. And he went there, and we see how that worked out. So, but yeah, that music was written for James Storm.
Gotcha. Crazy, man. Crazy.
It worked out, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it did for AJ. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, Augie, what's next?
What's next is Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill versus Damage Control. And for those who don't know, Damage Control has been going through some interesting drama involving Bayley. So we'll see if that will play a part in this match. But I'm really excited. I'm hopeful to see Bianca, Naomi, and Jade get the win, though.
Right. The big thing of this match, obviously, is Jade Cargill. This is not her. Is this her debut match, right? Like
I
other
believe
than the Rumble.
That is correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, when you're debuting on WrestleMania,
No pressure.
and that's usually
Yeah.
that's usually not a bad sign. You know, it's not a bad sign. But also, if you notice, she's not in there, working a singles match. She's in there with a lot of talent. So there's probably a lot of people that can support to make sure that they pull off a good match that tells a good story.
Did you notice the shape Bianca Belair was in last week on SmackDown, knowing that she's got to
Incredible.
stand next to Jade Cargill at WrestleMania? So
That's a
that
little bit of pressure, eh?
you got it. That didn't happen by accident. So I
Yeah.
think Jade pins Dakota Kai in that one, and it'll be a good showcase for
Yeah.
Jade.
Yeah, no, it's great how you bring that up. How it brings out the natural competition in the locker room between the talent, which is healthy, like for everybody, right? Like if people just are striving to be the showstopper, the one that steals the show.
Well, Wavell, it's like, hey, I knew I was going to be on the podcast tonight, so I had to go for my tan, So hey, here I am,
Absolutely. Yeah.
tan up,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and I've got oil on my arms. Just for a little bit.
I did some quick
Rubber
bicep curls
bands.
before this, even though you're not going to see my biceps.
I don't think it's working.
I got my WrestleMania tan going here, so yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah, you're gonna be all tanned up for Rassle-Mania.
Rassle-Mania.
So there's one more left on day one. That's correct, right?
Yes,
so
and this
that
one
would be the opener.
Yes, I believe so. And it's Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, the two very legendary, very seasoned luchadors, taking on Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio.
Over heel.
Goodness.
Dominic is so over as a heel, hey?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy how over he is as a heel. I mean, did you see the clips of him getting booed at his own wedding?
Yeah, that's incredible. So I was just about to bring that up, like, because I'm an old school kind of a guy. Was it a little bit of a work, like to get it started?
I have no idea. I haven't been
piped-in
able to
booing?
find any. I don't know if I haven't been able to find any information at all. So maybe
I've heard the accusations that Mecca. Did you hear any of those sort of accusations that they were piping into booing
at his wedding?
No. No, like when they first started with when he first got all the steam as a heel.
I didn't hear anything about that, but I mean, it wouldn't shock me. But I think everything is just so man, they're just hitting on all cylinders right now, right? And I think the only thing with Dominic is he's still his work is improving all the time, but he needs work on the promos, right? It's still like he's trying to pretend like to be a bad guy. I think he's got to lean into that kind of slimy late 90s Eddie Guerrero kind of gimmick.
Yes.
And if he leans into that, with the greasy mullet and all that stuff, I think it'll just put him over the top. But I mean, I see really big things for him.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I find it hard to believe that they could actually try and prop fake boos for him during that heel run, since it was just him basically being a brat to his own dad. And obviously, this is Rey Mysterio we're talking about. He's super beloved. The only time I think he's ever been genuinely booed was the Royal Rumble, where he came in as the 30th entrant, and people only booed him because they wanted it to be Daniel Bryan. But other than that, this is Rey Mysterio. Everyone loves him. And so if you're going to be a brat to him, and obviously a lot of people are going to chime in as, oh yeah, he's a bratty son. He's terrible. We hate him because he's hating on our boy Ray. So I don't think those could have been fake, because I was a part of them. I was booing him.
I think Dominic pins Dragon Lee in that one. And remember, Dragon Lee beat Dominic for the North American Championship in NXT too, so I think they have some history there, so that'll be good too.
Right. Yes.
That'll be very good.
And then what happens to Rey Mysterio after that? Is he still involved, or does he segue out?
I think he's been kind of they've kind of put I don't want to say cool down, but they've kind of put Rey Mysterio in neutral with this Dominic thing. And I think they're just trying to give, Dragon Lee a little bit of a rub, get Dominic, this is the WrestleMania payday match, right? So I think it makes some sense, and I think ultimately we'll get back to Mysterio and Dominic at some point. But I think it's just a match that's in there to get some poor guys some work during a big weekend. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can see a one-on-one between Mysterio and Santos Escobar. I think that would be pretty cool to make a story out of that. But
yeah, what a heel he is. He's a tremendous heel.
Yeah, for sure.
Facial expressions, his work, like he's just very believable. So I mean, he's outstanding. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right, so that's it for night one. So that's Saturday, right? Like tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, who do we got in the main event?
I believe the main event is Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth.
Who do you guys got in that one?
We didn't choose yet. We didn't choose. Well, The Rock is in the office, so there's. I think he's going over strong on everything. Is he not?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, there's a little bit of flexing going on, right? Because like when you have that corporate.
Yeah, the corporate
like
power.
He's not just the locker room leader, you know.
Yeah.
He's like the corporate, like he's like the boss. You really, you know.
Yeah.
So he's probably gonna end up going over, I would assume.
Yeah, I think they need that main event in night 2 to be Bloodline Rules, right? So I mean, I don't know. Like it's just a funny thing because I mean, the money match. Let's call it the way it is. The money match was Roman and Rock, right? But the fans would have shit all over it, especially in Philadelphia, because they would boo Santa Claus in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So I mean, they had to pivot, make a change, and this is what they came up with. So yeah, there's all sorts of scenarios. I've even heard, Roman Reigns on the biography on A&E basically said this week, if he doesn't pin Cody Rhodes, he's done. So, and they were on, the Tonight Show last night, and they were talking about it. And
Tonight Show.
Yeah, there's people. I mean, let's call it the way it is. Roman's getting cool heel heat. So is he a heel?
Almost not. Not when you're a cool heel. You're over.
Maybe The Rock screws Roman, and Roman goes away. Right? I mean. Who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah, because he's been working such a heavy schedule. Give him some time to rest.
Well, listen, he needs time off. When you're working those 4 matches a year, I mean,
I work 4 matches a year and I'm retired.
Yeah, but you know what though? You look at like UFC champions. When you're a main champion, you don't defend the title every month, right? I mean, and I like, obviously we know it's all a work, but I like what Michael Cole said a few weeks ago on SmackDown. He's like, everybody's complaining. Roman Reigns is not around. Roman Reigns is not here. Okay, well then beat him. Who can beat him? He's not around. He doesn't wrestle much, so you should be able to beat him. No one can beat him.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to beat him.
That's right.
And think about this. Do you know who he beat for that Undisputed Universal Championship?
I do not recall.
Do you guys even remember?
No, I just remember that it took a lot of interferences from Solo or the Usos for him to continue to retain it.
Yeah. Well, get this. At Payback 2020, on August 30th, he beat Bray Wyatt.
Oh, wow.
For that championship. And you think about where was Cody when that title reign began? He was on the other show. So this has been a long time. So the question becomes... Yeah. So the question becomes... Do they want to do the right thing and have Cody finish the story? Because if he doesn't win it, the crowd's not going to get behind this guy anymore because he failed twice now, right?
Yeah,
but there's been no sign in business that would indicate take the title off of Roman Reigns. So does he eclipse Hogan?
I don't know. I think there's one factor that you're failing to address or that you're not seeing. It's that they're trying to get away from the Vince era. And
that is true.
And it would be very Vince-ish to squash the crowd's dreams and bury Cody Rhodes.
Yep. Good point. Yeah, I think Cody's. I think it's going to happen for him, and that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, and then that'll show people that there's a different style than before. See, Vince isn't involved because Vince does that stuff all the time. He loves doing it. If the crowd hates it, he loves it. Like that's what he feeds off of.
Well, Triple H just tonight on the Rassle-Mania kickoff this afternoon, because I haven't been watching any wrestling in case you've noticed, but on the Rassle-Mania kickoff today, they were talking about how there's the Attitude Era, there's the Hogan era. They're calling this now the Triple H era. And they are Triple H is promising something like this is the start of something big. So, yeah, I could see that. Now, what a great way to put an exclamation mark on the beginning of the Triple H era with Cody Rhodes as the undisputed WWE Universal Champion.
Yeah, I would love for that to happen. Here's the thing: when it comes to night one, though, with Rock and Roman taking on Rhodes and Rollins, I low-key kind of want Rock and Roman to win, because then that would create momentum for them going into night two. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now Cody has to win this match in order to finally overcome that bump. That has now become a mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. Bloodline will win on night one for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But night two, that's the question.
I'm not at all invested in who goes over. Like, however they book it is how they book it. You know, like that's kind of the thing, especially when you see the results. There's always a big distinction, because a lot of the guys inside the locker room are the ones that are freaking out about that, and it totally exposes them a little bit. Does it not, Mecca?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. But I mean, hey, listen, it's got people talking. I mean, I haven't been this excited for WrestleMania in years. So,
right.
And I was thinking about, when did WWE start getting hot? And we were just talking about this on my podcast, Species Wrestling, just when we recorded yesterday. And we were talking about when was the sign when the pivot happened? And I feel when Cody returned 2 years ago at WrestleMania 38, that was the beginning. But I feel we got to give a lot of credit to Sami Zayn as that honorary Uce, and how the people really got behind that. So I think that was what really put this thing into full gear. So, so I mean, and here we are, WrestleMania 40, the biggest WrestleMania of all time, until WrestleMania 41 when it comes to Minneapolis, right? So
yeah, for sure, man.
Oh man, I'm telling you, I like I said, I'm very excited for this. For me, I wasn't genuinely excited for WrestleMania but the last time up until last year, because last year was the last time I was excited for it. It was WrestleMania 30. And that's just because I was super invested in like the whole Daniel Bryan storyline and the Yes movement. And I was also super invested with Taker and Brock Lesnar. Dude, I cried when the streak was broken. Genuinely. In my defense, I was like 13 at the time or whatever.
Yeah, okay, there you go. At least you were just a young fella.
Yeah.
Wavell and I were like 42 or something.
I was well into my 40s.
So I'm still the young guy.
Yes, absolutely, man.
But I mean,
okay, so here's a question nobody wants to allude to on this one as well. Has the drama around Vince McMahon supported or worked against creating the steam and the momentum for WWE WrestleMania? What do you say?
I say no. I think it actually takes away from some of the WrestleMania momentum. But I mean, well, Wavell, you and I probably know full well that there's more stories out there that we're probably not going to hear about. But
thank God, I don't need to hear anymore after reading those.
Yeah, we've heard enough and read enough. But I think I think that was I mean, what do you say about that? I mean, I think it takes away from the focus of some of this stuff. So I'm glad that's kind of in the rearview mirror, and we can all kind of get past it and move forward.
But you can't deny that it just adds to the whole frenzy of energy right now that's all going on around everything.
Yeah, I mean, all the momentum that I see from that company, I don't. I mean, maybe on some news sites, it's kind of a hot topic or a hot button.
Yeah, it's huge.
Totally. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's any sort of crossover with the Vince stuff. I mean, just from my perspective, I think it takes away from it, if anything.
Yeah, in the mainstream for sure.
Yeah. I'm a little on the fence on how, because on one hand, you're right. It definitely takes away from it because it takes away the focus, because this is WrestleMania, we're not supposed to be thinking about the fact that Vince, shocker, he has a shady past. He's done crappy things. No surprise by that.
I'm shocked.
What?
But at the same time, I've noticed a lot of people on social media talking about how, like, kind of using this as a reason why it's better that Triple H is now the guy in charge. Because now, hey, we're out with the old, in with the new. Out with Vince, in with
Right.
Hunter.
Yeah, that's the story that they're definitely trying to tell and have been for a little while. So I can see that continuing on. Speaking of continuing on, we're half hour
Yes.
in. We're half hour in. Let's get to the Sunday card.
Yes. So for the Sunday card for Rassle-Mania, obviously there is the one that everyone's been talking about a lot, and that is Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And we kind of already talked about that. You know,
that's a big one.
Thinking Cody, hoping Cody goes over.
Yeah, that's the main event. If you have to pick one out of all the matches, that's the main event right there, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It is. But could you imagine if Cody Rhodes wins the WWE Universal Heavyweight Championship and the next night, Monday night on Raw, he comes out with that? Would that not be the coolest?
That would be,
It'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely.
That would be cool.
Bring it back, man. Bring it back. I mean, we also have the World Heavyweight Championship happening before that between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre.
That'll be a good one.
It'll be a very good one.
Yeah.
And I think
that'll steal the show, I think, right there. In terms of talent and the ability, just a couple of studs, let them go. Right? They'll tear the house down.
I like Drew in that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think
No
in
clue.
fact, he might interfere with the tag team match on Saturday night to help cause the loss to Roman and Rock.
And so to keep his name associated with the other big names as well, right?
They've done a great job with Drew as kind of that slimy, almost like Bret Hart in '97, where some fans were behind him, some fans weren't behind him. So they've done a great job masterfully kind of weaving that into the storyline. So I like what they're doing. I'm interested to see what happens. And I'm hoping he does win the title because he's the guy who really deserves that moment because he had that robbed from him at WrestleMania 36 in front of nobody.
Absolutely,
and that was,
man.
that was supposed to be his moment. And Wavell, you and I know, for being in the business for so long, I mean, that's the stuff that you dreamed about, right? And to have that taken away, I'm hoping that he gets that moment.
Yeah, for sure. And I like the stuff that he does, like PG, brother. Just off the cuff, you know, he's funny. He's funny and he's good off the cuff, right?
He's very funny. I was really excited when he had his big return, and all of a sudden he's coming back, and he's just super buff, super gritty Scotsman coming in. He's wielding the claymore. I actually got a sword I can probably use as the
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Holy smokes!
And then just
this guy's not playing around.
He's fired up.
Incredible. He's all fired up. Jesus.
Oh, fired up.
Oh, God.
Jesus, kid.
You're
all high spots.
That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. But yeah, I mean, I loved when Drew came back, and I was hoping he would get pushed to the moon. And then, like you said, WrestleMania 36 happened, and I was so upset for him. Especially, like he said, it was in front of nobody, too. And
4-minute match, nobody cared in front of nobody.
But he finished the story. He finished the story, Cody. He finished the story.
I liked it what Roman said. When Roman was on the Tonight Show, he goes, "Finish the story? This book has no pages left, man. I beat him last year."
That's a good one.
Roman's so good.
All right.
He got better. So the next one is the WWE Women's Championship now, and that is Io Sky, the champion, taking on Bayley, and they have the whole damage control storyline happening. I feel like there's probably going to be some interference there, so Io Sky might retain, or they might go with the happy story of Bayley taking the championship from a former teammate.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either way. I could see, if you look at it on paper, Bayley makes sense, but I could definitely see your point there, keeping it on Io Sky to kind of continue that storyline.
Yeah. But then again, do they want to drag that out? Because the last time there was a story that didn't end on Rassle-Mania, the last one I can think of, besides obviously Cody and Roman, was Shinsuke and AJ. Yeah, that's the one my mind goes to. Because that one was hype too, because everyone was talking about how they had that banger of a match in New Japan and, having it be recreated, and then it ends on a nut shot.
Yeah.
Bruce Hart style booking right there. Nut shot and then a pile driver. Right?
And then they continued that, and then they overdid the joke in other pay-per-views between those two, and it just wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah, but I think if we looked at if that match was booked in this era, I think H is smart enough to kind of look at those two guys, know their history, and kind of say, you guys know what you can do. I'm going to give you this amount of time. Go out there and do it. I just think Vince doesn't get that kind of stuff, right? That's why guys like people say like, oh, Okada should have went to WWE. No, he went where the money is. I mean, he's an older guy. Take the money and run, right? Because I mean, they didn't understand what to do with Shinsuke, and it's too bad because when he came over from New Japan in 2016, I mean, he was red hot,
Yeah, he was fire.
Huge.
He had the iconic music, and everyone was super high. I remember when he first came to SmackDown. It was when Miz and Maurice, they were doing their whole mocking John Cena and Nikki Bella thing, and then you see the violinist on the ramp, and all hell breaks loose, and you're just hyped.
Well, even before that, though, when he finished up at New Year's Dash in 2016, and then it was announced he was coming to WWE, and you didn't see him until NXT TakeOver on WrestleMania weekend, and then he wrestled Sami Zayn, and they had that killer match, and Sami Zayn got called up, and Shinsuke stayed, and just to get that Titan polish right there, Wavell. So
yes,
that's right.
I mean, I think they dropped the ball on him, and unfortunately, as we've seen with guys like Dolph Ziggler, you drop the ball on guys too many times, the fans lose faith, and they're really devalued.
Yeah, absolutely. The fans totally lose faith because they haven't seen them get to win enough, right, to have any confidence in them.
Yeah.
All right. So what's after that?
So after that one, yes, the triple threat match for the United States Championship, the champion Logan Paul taking on Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. That's
that guy is pretty incredible to be able to just come off the street and do that kind of stuff, So I expect an incredible match. Mecca, what about you?
First of all, any Rookie of the Year award in any line of work should now be renamed the Logan Paul Award, because that guy, I don't care if you're Kurt Angle. I don't care. This guy is taken to wrestling in a way that is unheard of. Not only the moves, the selling the hard cam, the promos, the mannerisms, all this stuff that you can't necessarily teach. You inherently have to have it. He has the entire package. I love Logan Paul. He's money. God bless him. I'm so grateful we get to watch him. This will be a hell of a match, but he'll pin Kevin Owens in this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a huge, like, his brand is huge, right?
Massive.
Yeah. So he's got like some weight in this. He's not just a pawn, right? He's got a little bit of weight in there. So
hey, we're gonna see that Prime logo in the middle of WrestleMania ring.
Yeah,
so
man, that's pretty cool. Honestly, like that, you got to respect that. It's like, wow, you got to be pretty popular to be and have a little bit of cred to be able to pull that off, right?
And he came in with a lot of popularity too. I will admit, I was upset just because of how easily it came to him. Just stepping into that ring and having
it makes it look easy.
When your first match is main eventing against Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia, you're doing something right.
That RKO, that he's going to take an incredible RKO sometime during that match, though, I bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to see an RKO out of nowhere at WrestleMania. That is my one wish for WrestleMania. Just one, please.
Yes, absolutely. All right, next one.
Next one is going to be LA Knight versus AJ Styles. They have their storyline going on. And so who do you guys think? Is LA Knight going to get the push over? Is AJ Styles going to get over?
It's the over 40 match.
Yeah.
I love it. This is my favorite right here.
Yeah, mine too. And I think this could be the sleeper match of WrestleMania, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, 100%.
AJ will
100%
carry him to a great match. This is a big opportunity for LA Knight.
Yeah.
And we'll see if the hype is real. I think he's gonna step up and win this one.
Yeah, those types of guys are very competitive, and they know that the amount of eyes that are on right now, that that's it's up for grabs, and people are going to bring their A game, and I think that these guys right here have enough experience and have been there enough times. It's not their first rodeo. They're going to tear it down, man. That's going to be an incredible match.
They already know how to work a crowd too. I mean, LA Knight, he was on fire. You'd hear his music and people would get hyped.
Yeah.
He'd bring the mic up to his lip before he even says it.
Yeah.
Everyone's already saying it. Let me tell you something.
As far as that stuff goes, the walk and talk and like the extra stuff, that LA Knight and AJ Styles will be pretty good for that. That other match, what was it? Seth Rollins. That one is going to be incredible. Yeah. In terms of like the story and the competitiveness and the pace.
Yeah, those two are definitely probably going to be the two best matches of the night.
Yeah. All right.
Which is going to suck for the main event, of course, but you can't always have the main event be the best match.
Well, ideally it should be. So they're going to have to. They're challenged, right? If those opening matches set the bar high, then you're expected to be able to produce higher than that. That's why you're in that position.
Absolutely.
And they're all very crafted and engineered, whereas that there's the producers or the agents. They know, that they're still you still have to build stuff up. Like you're not going to see the first match go out there and do main event stuff right off the bat. You have to see some easy stuff right off before you get into all that. Or
that is true.
Doesn't mean anything. One more match on.
Yeah, Sunday. Speaking of the first match for Sunday, so we have Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits.
Yeah, Bobby.
Street Profits taking on the Final Testament, which consists of Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain.
We taught Bobby how to run the ropes in Louisville, Mecca. me and Seth Skyfire.
Yes, Seth. Yeah.
He showed up at Louisville right after Rip was released, and before they replaced him. I think it was Lance after. So he showed up at camp, and then Danny asked me and Seth to stay after and to teach him some stuff, like just lock up and run the ropes.
Nice.
Yeah. I say that story every time. I bring that story up every time his name comes up.
That is insane.
Hey, we have some funny OVW stories we should talk on another episode, maybe.
Yeah. We definitely will, man.
Some of those up. I will gladly take a back seat just to listen to you guys talk about OVW stories, man. Because I mean, when Wavell and I first started talking, and he told me that just by telling me he worked with Jim Cornette, I was starstruck. I'm like, what? You worked with Corny?
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah, man, it was incredible. It was awesome. It was a really good experience. But you know what? Like it's like I still love the business. Like I keep up with what's going on. I don't show up at a lot of shows, but I do try and keep up with what's going on. Thankfully through social media and YouTube and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. So I do know that tonight. Here in Regina, Ringside Wrestling currently has a show going on, and I bet you it's going to be packed. I believe they're at the German Club, and every time they run there, they seem to pack that place. They've got good talent. They've got locally Levi Knight is probably one of the best with the most potential, and of course Michael Allen, Richard Clark is on the card, and I know that they have Moses Luke coming in, and the Toxic Juggernauts there. Tyler, they've got some good steam, and I give a lot of props to those guys because they really hit the road pretty hard over the last couple of years or whatever, and they've been promoting their socials and stuff like that pretty hard. So they've been working hard. I bet you that show tonight is going to rock. What's going on over in Manitoba these days?
Oh man, no heat or anything, but
never.
Yeah, no, there's there's a big show coming up on May 16th for Mike Davidson started a new company called Wrestling United, and he's bringing in.
Hold on. Mike Davidson, like Mike Davidson from WFX. And
Yeah. So based on our podcast, what we've done is, as the next evolution of the podcast, we've decided to. Well, Mike has decided to start. Well, not even start a company, but he's going to run a few shows.
Yeah.
So he's got Ethan Page coming in on May 16th at the Franco Manitoban Cultural Center. And there is another gigantic name that will be announced this Monday on BShe's Wrestling. So cheap plug for the podcast there. So download that on all major platforms. But it's going to be a good show, but hasn't been met with the most. There's, I guess, there's some nonsense happening here locally, but
right. So let me try and piece this together. So Mike is kind of heading it up, and he's back in it because the podcast has been getting a lot of steam. Going to start organizing events, but to organize events, he needs a ring.
He bought one.
Oh, he bought one. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
So he's probably got a brand new ring. I'm thinking he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Brand new ring, 18 by 18.
Oh yeah.
So a little bigger, so that's good. So, but you know what? It'll be a great show. It'll be well financed. It'll be well produced. It'll be at a venue that the wrestlers can be proud of, and he's still kind of putting together some of the finishing touches. But it's going to be a hell of a show. So that's May 16th here in Winnipeg.
And so what's the brand?
It's called Wrestling United.
United.
Yeah. So the idea was. Basically to have, representation from different companies and so on and so forth. But what has actually happened is the other companies have united against Wrestling United. So,
oh boy, well that tends to happen sometimes.
Yeah,
too much steam.
Well, listen, I mean, it's there's some local talents here being put in a bad position, and they're having to make choices because they think that there could be repercussions, but.
Right.
At the end of the day, there's no heat. If people don't do the show, it's all good because we got plenty of wrestlers, believe me. So I will be on that show. I've done a few matches. I did one last weekend in Landmark, Manitoba for Canadian Wrestling's Elite.
Nice.
That was a great match. And I'm looking forward to doing a few more here.
Who did you work with at that show?
What's that?
Who did you work with at that show?
I worked with actually my cousin. The Miracle Jackson Conway. So first time match. So young guy. He was around several years ago. He took some time off, and he's just recently come back, and he's doing very well. So he's a hell of a talent. Looks good, works good, gets it, and just a good guy. So we had a great match. It was my first match in over 10 years.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Good to hear that. You probably had a great time, didn't you?
Had a great time, yeah. So,
man. Speaking of that, so I recently put on a tour as well. Just we went to a few communities that had Short Sleeve Samson in. And Vance, Nevada, and we had a great time, man. We were out at One Arrow near Rostern, and we had a great crowd for that. Then we hit LeBret, Saskatchewan, which of course is my home area, my hometown. So
I remember LeBret.
Yeah. So we went there, and then we for the third one we went all the way up to Hall Lake, which is up by La Ronge, so way up north. And they loved it. So we had a great run. I've got my belt is on Vance, Nevada. He is he's a hell of a locker room leader, and he's a great person to have on the road. Just a great hand. I can worry about the business because I'm just promoting, man. I didn't even work on the shows, So I'm doing I'm looking after business stuff and making sure things get paid. And he looks after the locker room, and he still has the talent to be your number one heel carrying a belt. So I've got it on him. We've got a couple of gigs lined up for August, so I may work another match in August, another match or two. We're going to be working for the opening ceremonies for the Indigenous Summer Games coming up in La Ronge. So the organizers came and saw our show, and they were impressed, and they booked us for it. So we'll be working there, and I'm looking to add a couple more dates to that. So in August to get like a 3-day, 4-day tour or something like that. And I am looking at bringing in a fella by the name name of Sebastian Wolf. He's
Yep.
a First Nations fella from the local area, Treaty 4 territory here, that is really making a name for himself.
Very talented.
Yes, and I would like to put on a show locally and profile him. And ideally, I could totally see my belt around his waist at some time in the near future, if he's able to beat Vance Nevada.
Right, of course. He's
Yes,
got to get
that's
it done in between the ropes.
Yeah, that's right.
Inside the squared circle where it
Inside
counts.
the squared circle where it counts. 1, 2, 3. I love that. All the old school interviews,
Yeah.
the terrible ones were always 1, 2, 3. They all end like that, right? That's how they end.
Yeah.
Cut.
So long as no one is trying to do the Scott Steiner math. That's so.
Oh, I love it. But no one could repeat that. No one could repeat that. That was an awesome promo. That was magic, man. That was pretty good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he came up with that.
But you know what, Wavell? It's really good to see independent wrestling so strong, right? I mean, we talk about, like the shit rolls down, right? And with WWE doing so good, there's all these other local companies. So I will say, everybody out there watching tonight, hey, get out to support your local indie. There's a lot of really good wrestlers out there, like where you are in Minneapolis there. Hey, Time Bomb Pro Wrestling has a big show coming up on April 16th, right? So there's like in Manitoba, you got Winnipeg Pro Wrestling, WPW, you got CWE, you got Wrestling United, Wavell, there's a lot happening in Saskatchewan. So it's really good to see wrestling hot and
Alberta.
Those big crowds.
Alberta is booming still as well, right? We've got Squigs there with RCW, and now I forget it. Heavy Metal's new gimmick, Harlan.
Top talent.
Yeah, top talent.
Yeah.
That looks incredible, and it's pretty. He's not doing spot shows, but they've definitely building that base, and every show just looks incredible. Not only that, but so does he. Like as a worker, like you can tell when somebody is hungry and they like get really focused on their craft and improving, because they start getting in physically, they look better, in better shape, they get better gear, and now like he does all the like the new style crazy awesome high spots, and he's right in there, man. So big props to him for the rebirth on his career. He's definitely put in a ton of work.
Yeah, he said something funny to me recently. He said, he's like, yeah, man, I really started taking some of the advice you gave me all those years ago, right? I mean, like guys like me and you giving these guys advice, it was like we weren't doing it to be those crotchety old guys. It's like, hey, man, like this is a cosmetic business, right? Like you need to, in wrestling, you need to be an actor, an athlete, an entertainer, and a stuntman. And not everybody can do this.
No,
right. So for a guy like that, if you just look at his body looks a million times better. His look, he's improved his look, and that cosmetic component is a big one in professional wrestling. So I give him a ton of credit. People should look up to that guy, look at a before and after picture and say, hey, listen, you can do this. And he's been around 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And still going at a high, like you said, reinvented himself. So kudos to Harlan Abbott. He's a hell of a talent.
Yeah, man. So as far as we're running out of time here, but I want to pick your brain real quick. Who in your area, or out in that territory, like the Manitoba area, if you had to pick one that you would put your money on, that if they were all racing to WWE or AEW, who's gonna
to make a living doing this?
Like to get there, like to sign, like to actually sign.
I will put all my money on, I would have to say, and there's a lot in Manitoba. There's a lot of very talented. I'll give it a tie. I have a tie.
Oh.
There's a guy here who wrestles as Josh Cheeks Holiday. Young guy, great talent, puts the time in. Young, but he's young, but working on the cosmetic aspect, working on his body and so on. He's a great talent. I'll be wrestling him on April the 20th in Amaranth, Manitoba. I mean, he's gonna lose to me, but I mean, that's whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
that's
then Of course. And then there's chiseled Chad Daniels, a guy, hell of a talent, great body, great attitude. The only thing that Chad is lacking is that self-confidence. And I've told him, hey man, like it's like you're when you do promos, it's like you're pretending to be a wrestler.
Right.
You're not real, and I'm not buying it. So I'm wrestling that guy on May 3rd, and I'm going to embarrass that guy too. But those two from Manitoba, I would say, have the best shot of making a living doing this.
Gotcha. So over here, Joe, what's up, my man? Over here, I would say, like, even it's even right in Regina. We've of course got Michael Allen, Richard Clark.
Yeah.
He's definitely got the talent. We've got Sean Moore, who definitely has the talent, and he's out there, out and about. I don't even know where he is right now, but he's working full time. Like you keep up with his social media, he's at someplace big all the time, doing something bigger and bigger. So he's doing really well. But the talent wise and youth wise and charisma wise and just that it factor, man, Levi's got something. Definitely, even you just go see him and say hi to him, like you just like you do a double take if you saw him in like in 7-Eleven or something like that.
Yeah.
you would totally do a double take. You know what I'm saying? And he gets it. He's got a good attitude, and he's not afraid to get out there and work his ass off. So those three probably are the front runners from here. If I had to put money on only one person, then I'd probably have to pick Levi, and I would probably because of his age.
Well, we'll see Levi here in Winnipeg on May 1st. I know that. So that's great. I mean, that's good to hear. There's lots of, and another guy, like we talked about him earlier, Sebastian Wolf, like,
yeah, man.
Hell of a talent, right? So there's a lot of good guys out there, and I like it that it's not just guys showing up with basketball shorts and tank tops and getting in the ring. Guys that take it seriously, have respect for the business, understand what's involved. Like, that's what you like to see.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The professionalism and guys that get it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Well, that's all I wanted to talk about for this very first return edition of Rassler's Roundtable. I want to thank you, Mecca, for joining me tonight. And same with you, Augie. It's great to have you aboard. I always needed a co-pilot and somebody to come on here that can take a look at what's going on the dirt sheets, because I certainly don't keep up with everything. So thank you for keeping your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the indie wrestling world, and we are definitely going to be back. We're going to do one probably on Monday, the Monday report, and we'll talk a little bit about the outcome of Rassle-Mania. Mecca, you're absolutely welcome to come to that if you have the time. We're going to do just a quick recap of what went on in the weekend, so really looking forward to it. So just wanted to say thank you to both of you guys, and thank you to everybody that came to join us here this time. We'll see you the next time. However, in the meantime and in between time, that's it. Another edition of the Rassler's Roundtable. Bye-bye now.